Y'all ready for this? Let's keep it real with Raheem Brazil. Let's keep it real with Raheem Brazil.
Hello. Welcome to Keep It Real with Raheem Brazil. Look, I'm so excited about today's show because on today's show, we have a doctor who is here to talk to you about your personal journey and what you can do in order to change a lot about your personal journey, your lifestyle. She is a relationship trauma expert. She's a counselor. She's an author. Look, I'm so excited. So everybody, let's welcome Dr. Sasha Mercedes to the show. Yes. Listen, Dr. Sasha, I'm so excited that you're here, number one. So thank you for coming to the show to speak to our audience about some of the things that I believe a lot of people in their life wrestle with, low self-esteem. And we're going to jump into that. But how are you doing on today?
I'm doing great and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. I'm happy that you're here. So I wanted to talk about low self-esteem because it's something that I have wrestled with and it's something that I'm continuing in my journey to kind of like overcome. And so I believe that it'd be something impactful to help other people determine ways of how they can kind of like maneuver around different situations in their life when they're wrestling with low self-esteem.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about like what is like low self-esteem exactly, like, and how to kind of like identify it.
Well, most people that experience low self-esteem, a lot of times they don't feel adequate. So they deal with a lot of self-sabotage. They tend to do a lot of negative, self-talk.
Yeah.
And they don't understand, their worth.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that I see a lot in my profession, that people just do not understand, really truly their will, their passion, their meaning
Yeah.
in life, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you end up trying to, a lot of times, attach your self-esteem and your confidence to other people.
Yes.
And, once you lose those people, a lot of times you back to square one or lower, So
Yeah.
that's what I notice a lot about the low self-esteem for sure.
That's actually a great point because on episode 1 we were talking about, it's called I Struggle with Love, and how a lot of people attach themselves to people in order to find love without realizing that they have to start with love.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the experiences that you have faced when it comes to low self-esteem and some of the battles that you had to overcome.
You said had and past tense.
Had.
That I deal with self-esteem issues now.
Oh, so still.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I think we all do about something, and if
Yeah.
somebody tells you they're not, they're lying.
Yeah.
But personally, as a kid, being bullied or picked on, and then, of course, parents not really knowing how to give you that esteem or build you up.
Yeah.
If they have low self-esteem, how can they teach you
Yeah.
how to have confidence and things of that sort? So I really truly believe that it starts with our relationships with our parents, to be honest with you, and their parents.
Yeah.
Because if their parents didn't teach them how to love on themselves and how to be confident and how to work through things and practice self-love and self-care, those words wasn't even talked about when I was little.
Yeah.
That's new to us,
Yeah.
really. So one thing I will say for me personally is just dealing with that and then starting to choose people again, attached to
Oh.
people. And so I was married. I actually got married at 19 years old, and I was abused. And so I thought, because of the way I had been brought up, this was cool, this was normal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you a lot of times attach to things that you think is normalcy, that is not normalcy, because you think that's love and that's gonna build me
Yeah.
up because they said you was cute or you had a little booty on the back there or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're trying to, you're attaching it to the wrong thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I think that's very helpful for me because I didn't have, like when you brought up the parents thing, I did not have parents that were active in my life to kind of like teach me just different things when it comes to my self-identity. And so I was like growing up as a child, even into my adulthood, I'm like really just trying to navigate life and trying to figure things out. And for a long time, I did not know, and I still have my moments, but I did not know who I was or what I was here for or what I wanted to do or like what I was becoming. And I look, a lot of that I blame my parents for, and like a whole chunk of my life I was mad at my parents because I'm like, my mother, my father, like if they had been the parents that my friends had, or if they'd have been the parents that, you know, I see on TV, then I could have been much further in my career, or I could have been much further, more knowledgeable about finances, more, or whatever the case may be. But also I can have the feelings of not, because I deal with self neglect, and self acceptance. So those are the things that I've wrestled with. And so I'm like, well, if I had the parents that were there to kind of guide me, like I don't know where I would be today. You know what I mean? So let's talk about your book. It's a losing battle I won. Let's talk about that. You go in depth about your situation when it comes to the things that you have battled in that book. What was it like for you to relive those experiences through that book, and how it's now helping people today?
So the first thing is that book was a coping mechanism for me. It was hard. I actually wrote the first edition of that book during the quarantine.
That's good.
And so I had been furloughed. I had just moved up here. And then, like, literally a few months later, we were in quarantine. We were dealing with COVID. And so I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do or how I was going to navigate the system of this new city I'm in. And I'm a single mother. And so I ended up writing that book, and I cried a lot. I was depressed. I was feeling suicidal at times. But I wanted to write about it because I'm a therapist. Therapist not supposed to be depressed. Therapist not supposed to be suicidal. Therapist not supposed to be in your
y'all supposed to have it all together.
Yeah, but that's foolishness. You know, at the end of the day, we all are human. And so I wrote that book. I talked about, you know, driving down the road thinking about hitting a tree and just dying. Or I talked about in the book about the situation with my ex-husband and feeling inadequate and staying in a situation because I thought this is love. This is love. This is what it's like, you know. And I even talked about, because a lot of people talk about single mothers like it's something to be proud of, like it's powerful or something, you know, at the end of the day. But it's a lot of weakness in it too, because you feel inadequate in times. You feel like you don't know whether you're going or coming, you know, and it's very, very difficult. And I tell people I'm a single mother. My ex-husband does nothing for my kids. So I battled with a lot of that, and I wrote that book because there's a lot of people today, then, now, and in the future that are going through the same things. But it's a lot of people out here will hold these stories in and don't want to help anybody with it. I'm just not that person.
Yeah. I love that. I love the fact that you're able to dig deep within your life and use your personal story and your testimony, because it helps other people see how personable you are, and they can kind of like gravitate towards you more and better, because like even if you look in the Bible, God uses storytelling as a way to heal people, and I just love that. You know, like parables. And so when our life become a parable, then it automatically helps somebody else.
Absolutely.
Because it kind of like consolidates it to the human experience.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your nonprofit. I love it. Helping women and children deal with some of their emotional baggages and some of the stuff that they need on a therapeutic level.
Absolutely.
Sisters. How do you say it?
Sister Second Chance.
Sister Second Chance. I wanted to say Second Chance Sisters. Okay, Sister Second Chance.
Sister Second Chance. Yep.
Okay. So Sister Second Chance. When did that come into fruition for you?
I was broke. 2014.
Wow.
I love saying I was broke first because I don't know how we always want to give when we don't have anything. You want to give with an empty
Yeah.
cup, but I tried.
Yeah.
And so 2014, I was in Alabama, and I can remember, needing somebody to talk to about some of the things I was going through, but I couldn't call my mom, couldn't call my dad. My siblings, I'm the oldest of 7, so I can't call them because they look up to me.
Wow.
And so it's like, well, who do I talk to? So it started with just a little Facebook group where we would go in there and vent different women.
Yeah.
And that was it. Did my first conference, I think it was like 2019. Now, mind you, that's years later. We
Yeah.
had only did like little turkey giveaways, little bitty things.
Yeah.
And so as of last year, Sister Second Chance has grown and we have umbrellas under it. It's not just for women. I decided to change the mission because the problem in our community is we forget the whole family. We
forget the men.
We need them in. And so we have under Sister Second Chance, a Brothers Deserve a Chance. And we have a Child's Purpose as well. So we do a mentoring program for the children. And for the men and the women, we offer free counseling. We offer different conferences we do brunches and just allow men for theirs and women, because women, we don't know how to shut up sometimes. So I don't let the women really come in and really intertwine with the men at the brunches, because when I do it, I literally have the women serve the men, so they can't really say much. We just serve them and we be quiet and let them be vulnerable and support that.
Yeah. I love that. What do you feel like your purpose on this earth is?
My purpose is simple in general. It's to help people in every way I can. And what I mean by that is a lot of people say they want to help somebody and they'll still try to do it in one area. Well, everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's not going to read my book. Everybody's not going to listen to this interview we're doing. So I've written books. I have meditation. You go to Amazon and Amazon Music or Apple Music and pull up my meditation. Or if you want to do an ebook, I got an ebook. I got a podcast. I got a radio show.
I love it.
Because at the end of the day, somebody may want to see me in a different area.
Yeah. I think that's so dynamic though, because sometimes we think we only supposed to operate in one space, but if you're gifted, I believe if you're gifted in multiple spaces, God gave you all those gifts for a reason.
Absolutely.
And if you even look in the Bible, and he's giving one person this one gift, and he even gave this person 3, and he gave that person 5, I believe you're supposed to use them all, not to be like, oh, well, yeah, I do radio and I'm an actor, but I'm gonna only do radio.
Absolutely.
But like, do it all, because people, like you said, people need different things from you, and you might be holding up the line for the next person.
But what people what people fail to realize, and that statement when people say a person that has all these things going on, they can't master anything. That's a lie. If they find one niche, find one thing that they can attach all of those things to, then guess what? They can do all those things and master them all, because at the end of the day, this one niche that you have is, guess what, soaring them all.
Period. And that's why I create the program like this and do my music and do everything else, because we're gonna make it all happen.
Absolutely.
I love it. So what's next? What's new? What's coming up? Like, what do we look forward to?
Okay, so I got a few things going on. I don't want to call it a book tour, because I like to be a little different. I like to be a little extra for whatever reason. They probably figured that out of me. I'm a little extra. So I am doing like a book excursion is what I'm calling it. So I am going to do a book signing here. I have Atlanta, Dallas, Texas, Houston, and a few other places I'm adding. And then we have a conference that I do. I honor community leaders like me to just remind them we need you. Don't give up on what you're doing. So we started in Atlanta last year, go to Montgomery next month. Then we got Ohio and Chicago on the map, and just doing just many different things. Nonprofits doing well, and just want to just keep just using my momentum while I have it to do the best I can, and then of course get these teenagers out of high school, because honey.
Now, how do you balance all of this stuff? How are you managing all like?
I don't think about it.
You don't think? You know,
some people they get all the anxiety and all that. Listen, you go ahead, you do your schedule, whatever you got to do, you just do what you can. You can only do one thing at a time. So I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do what I got to do. I can't worry about how I'm doing it. I'm just gonna do it.
Oh, I love it.
That's what Nike said. Just do it.
Just do it. Live in the moment.
Got me feeling so happy. I've been feeling so happy. Yeah. I woke up today, I'm wide awake. I hit the shower, brush my teeth, and wash my face. I put a mixtape on and dance to Drake. Jumped in my flip-flops, hit it to grab a plate. I got a text from Shorty around the way. Like, are you coming outside? I'm trying to race. I put my knickknacks on and tied my lace. And the sunshine lit my entire face. I've been feeling so happy. I've been feeling so happy.
And action. Yes, welcome back to the show. Keep it real with Raheem Brazil. Listen, I'm very excited on today because I have the pleasure of speaking with some individuals who may or may not have dealt with low self-esteem, but we get to talk to let me start again. I had to restart again. Bring it back in.
All right, bring it back in.
Okay.
All right. Second action. And
Welcome back to the show. Keep it real with Raheem Brazil. Listen, I'm so excited to have you back on the show because today I get to talk to some amazing guests who may give you some tips and clues of how to deal with your personal journey. I can't talk today.
It's okay.
I'm sorry, it's a talk show.
Right. Take your time. Let them use
These are called bloopers.
Right.
It's okay.
All right,
Can't catch another
let's do it again. Let me stop being all lax.
all right. Third action. And
Pump me up more, y'all.
all right.
Yes! All right, welcome back to the show. Keep it real with Raheem Brazil. Listen, I'm so excited to have you on today. We get to speak to individuals who may or may not dealt with low self-esteem, but if you're dealing with low self-esteem in your personal journey, this is the show that you want to be a part of today. So my first guest, she is a life coach. She's a talk show host. She has her own platform. She gives a lot of great advice, and she's absolutely amazing at what she does. And I just want to first and foremost welcome Miss Brittany Daniels. Give it up for Miss Brittany Daniels, y'all. Brittany, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being a part of the show.
Thank you so much.
Yes, so I just had to have you here today because I've watched some of your content and I've seen the growth. The growth has been real.
Long
I've seen you build out the studio and like you also like allowed us to see that part of your journey where like you're taking it from the ground up. And how has that been for you?
Oh, rough.
It has been rough.
You know, anytime you're trying to build anything, especially when you're a one-woman show or one-man show,
Yeah.
there's always challenges, but, you know, by the grace of God, we make it through, we keep it pushing.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Yeah, well, you're doing such an amazing job.
Thank you so
Welcome to the
much.
show.
Thank you for having me.
My next guest, he is no stranger to me at all. He's absolutely amazing at what he does behind the scenes and in front of the camera. But he is also a radio host here on ATL Talks Radio, where he talk about many life situations with just the everyday person. So everybody help me give it up for Mr. Guyon White.
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Man, I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
I'm glad that you are here because we've been having to have this sit down for a minute.
Yeah.
So yes.
I
So
agree.
I'm absolutely amazed that you're here. I'm amazed at your journey as well. Going from an actor to a radio host and tuning into your show, which is such an amazing show.
Thank you.
So yes.
Thank you.
And my last and final guest that's joining us on the white couch is Dr. Sasha Mercedes. Of course, you just saw her interview right here on Keep It Real. Everybody give it up once again for Dr. Sasha Mercedes. Yeah. Welcome, doctor.
Thank you. For
Are
having
you ready to
again.
help me out?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know how much help they need, but I need
Well,
help.
Listen, we all need help.
We all
okay?
need help. So I wanted to speak to y'all today concerning low self-esteem and what that looks like and how we could potentially help the average viewer overcome some of the toxic mindsets that they may have about themselves, some of the toxic behaviors or habits that they may have about themselves. So I want to start with saying negative things about yourself that contribute to low self-esteem. So let's start with you, doctor.
Okay, so And you want me just to talk about the negative things people say?
Yeah, like, why do people say negative things about themselves?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of times they say negative things because that's what they truly believe about themselves. They can't see anything, like they can't see the worth. They can't see all of the things. A lot of times they'll push out all the positive things that they have going on because they have really focused in on these things that they don't like about themselves. And guess what? At the end of the day, a lot of times when you focus in on that negative self-talk, you know, you do it long enough, it's reality for you. You know, they call it emotional reasoning. You reason with yourself. You start to make yourself believe that this is the reality of your life and that...
And it start to show up in your life? Oh, that's so... what is it called?
Emotional reasoning.
I've never heard of that one. I gotta look that up.
Oh, absolutely.
I might be doing some of that.
Yeah, they literally tell themselves something about themselves is not reality.
Yeah, it's not real.
And then they do it they know how to tell people if they keep lying about something, they'll start believing they lie.
Yeah.
Same thing with emotional reasoning. If I keep telling myself that I feel like I'm 800 pounds and maybe I start to believe I'm 800 pounds, I'm not gonna do that. But I'm just saying, you know, I'm just saying, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Brittany, when it comes to low self-esteem, why do people think negatively about themselves, and how does that add to that low self-esteem behavior in their life?
One thing my therapist, because I believe everybody should have a therapist, so one thing my therapist helped me with is I'm extremely hard on myself. I grew up kind of single mom. My dad, even though we have a great relationship now, he was absent most of my childhood. So I ended up being a people pleaser because of the emotional neglect that I had, right? And I could show up for everybody else. I could be super supportive for everybody else, but I wasn't giving that to myself. So my therapist said, you need to become your own best friend. How would you speak to somebody going through a negative experience? Would you bash them or would you encourage them? And I just started speaking to myself as my own best friend, and that's helped me tremendously. So if I make a mistake, I do something I didn't want to do, maybe I spend a little extra money, maybe I call the boo back that I wasn't going to call back, I don't beat myself up. I go, okay, girl, you made a mistake, we're not going to do that no more. And I try to be my own best friend, like splitting myself into two and really being there for myself emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and that's helped me so much with my self-esteem.
Yeah, and you know what, that's so powerful, because we were talking on the show about giving yourself grace, and I think that's so important, to give yourself grace. I've recently just started doing it within the last year or two, where I would like literally be in the mirror like, it's okay, you're doing fine, you're doing great. Like if I make a mistake, like on my journey of not drinking alcohol, like hard liquor, I had to tell myself, you picked up a little bit yesterday, but we can get back to it. And it really did help me. So it's been a year since I've had that, you know, alcohol, that, strong liquor, because y'all know I'm not a good drunk. Not good with that. Let's go on to Guyon. Guyon,
yes,
let us talk about low self-esteem and speaking negatively over yourself, and how that adds to that trauma.
Well, for me, the brain is a big muscle. It plays a major tricks on you.
Yeah.
So I have the type of brain that if I start thinking one thing, it goes off and starts thinking multiple stuff. So I mean, for me, the low self-esteem, I'm like she was saying, I'm still dealing with it now at this age that I am, that I will refuse to say. But it's hard, because like my self-esteem started from my molestation. So it started there, and being raped. So then it started there. So this is stuff that I would hold in. So then you have people whispering, you're not attractive enough, you're too dark. It all started there, and all that stuff just kind of festered in my mind. And I never released it. Now I got a therapist, so that's working a little bit. But it was those things, and it just makes you start, like she said, but you've told me this before 1,000 times. Why do you say that about yourself? It's because I literally believe it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, people can tell me I'm handsome this 100,000 times, I'm not gonna believe it. And I don't know what that's about, and I'm trying to get over that hump. I don't know how to get over it yet, which I'm getting help to do. And it's hard to even say right now. I don't even know what self-love is right now. So I can't possibly invoke it to somebody else because I haven't found it on my own. So it's just those little things, those voices that keep going.
So, and then those nagging voices, I get that. What do you feel like the help is working? Do you feel like
she's taking steps with me? She's amazing. She really likes, because we have therapists, and you can attest to this if not. They have therapists that will really customize your help. So we invoke religion in my therapy because I have a belief in God. So we try to evoke it, we try to utilize the word, and we also try to be realistic with our help. So she's taking baby steps with me and making me realize and making me do exercises and journal and stuff like that to try to release it. So we're taking steps to do it.
I love it.
It's just sometimes it takes people sometimes longer than other people to get over certain things.
When is like, I know like a lot of times our friends and our families want to help us out in our personal life, and I'm going to say that I'm good for that. I'm always trying to help my sister or my friends, and I'm like always trying to help elevate them. And sometimes I even, going to tap my own, wrist or hand and be like, I'll be like getting a little bit upset because I'm like, I love you, but why aren't you getting this? What can I do like to make sure that that is not becoming a part of something that's traumatic for me? To where as though, okay, I'm trying to give my sister advice because I love her and I want to see her do better, and I want to see her think better about herself. I want to help my friend think better about himself, but I know that I can't control the way they show up. And just like, he said, like, your friends can tell you're beautiful all day, but if they don't believe it. So it's like I'm stuck between, well, what do I do? Do I just let them stay there? Or like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do?
This is my question, right? Okay, I'm glad, because first of all, when we help people, we got to learn how to help without an expectation for that person. That's the first thing, because we help people and we think that they're supposed to move the way that we move, and that's just not how it works. And I just was saying this earlier, people forget self and self-esteem. So it doesn't matter what you say or what you do, it's a self. That friend has to work on self. So you can say a lot of great things to motivate them, but the best thing to do is just be a support system while they go through the process. Go to a therapist, do some affirmations, do some self-love. I tell them to have a party with yourself. Sometimes you gotta go through a party where you noticing that you're tearing yourself down. And I tell people you have to, like, kind of like what she said earlier, split yourself off, because a lot of times those voices you hear, there ain't nobody else, that's you. So I say you got the negative you. I say something else when I'm talking to my clients, but that's the negative you, and you got the positive you, and you letting the negative you win. And so you gotta figure out how to motivate
that
this
positive voice more louder.
Absolutely.
I agree with her. Not because I
No, you good, honey.
It's almost like the angel devil mentality. You know what I'm saying? Like she said, like, I can do 100 positive things, and then like, I'll tell you this too, with me personally, it's almost like comparing myself to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have beautiful friends. I have friends that are talented, such as yourself. I have friends that do a lot in our group, and it's like, dang, okay, I want to be like that, but then the negative is like, I will never get to that kind of level. It's just that thing.
It's a constant battle, mind battle.
It's like, I want to do things for myself, but like she said, I'm always the one that's kind of like giving. You know what I'm saying? And then when you want to maybe talk to your friends, you have to be mindful of how you approach your friends. Because you have to say, Brittany, are you in the mind space to hear what I'm about to tell you today?
Yes,
Because
please.
if you're not, I can come back and we can revisit it. You have to be
Yeah.
mindful because you can't just dump all that stuff on your people you
Yeah.
trust. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you don't want to hinder
You know what?
your friend.
He triggered me over here because another thing is you got to ask people, do they want your advice? Because a lot of times we want to help our friends because we love them, we care about them or whatever.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask for your advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't ask for your opinion. I didn't ask for your help.
Yeah.
And then we offer these things, and then we get mad when they don't move the way we want them to move.
Yeah.
But they didn't ask you.
They ask. Yeah.
And we have to give them grace, like we would want grace. You know, it's the expectation, and I think that, like they were both saying, it's just loving that person in spite of,
Yes.
letting them go through their own journey.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a teenager, you know, your parents told you, a lot of people told you, hey, don't do that, but you found out on your own. And
Yeah,
sometimes
right.
people just have to go through that journey
Yeah.
and just not judging them and just letting them live, and then always being there. Not to be like, I told you so, but it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I absolutely love that. Brittany, how do you use your show in order to impact other people, and what is the goal and mission for you?
Absolutely. Well, the goal of my show is to reconnect people with God. It didn't start out that way. God
Okay.
used all last year to really get to me. But just so they know that He's real, that no matter what you're going through, no matter what your
Yeah.
circumstances are, you can always reconnect with God. And He's always there. Like, people will tell me, I feel so alone. And I say, sometimes God isolates you or not allow you to be around people, or people not to answer their phone, so you can lean on Him and cast your burdens on Him. And so you can reconnect and have that relationship. So no matter what I say and all of the things that
Yeah.
we say on the show, it's more so just to let people know that God loves them and He's there.
I love that. I love that. Dr. Sasha, when people come to you for advice or guidance, let me say guidance, because advice is just seem like I need help with this certain situation. When people come to you for guidance, how do you assess what methods that you're going to use for that person?
Well, one thing is this, one thing that I do first of all is the first thing I do is I need to see if they even ready to deal with therapy, period. Because a lot of therapists will take you in because they get paid.
Because they get paid for it, yeah.
But I don't take everybody, you know. So we go through a lot of different, of course we screen them, of course. And then my screening process is different. I tell people I'm raw. You know, so when you come in here and you sit down with me, you need to understand and I don't give advice. I give guidance. So I'm glad you changed that, because everybody that comes to me, they may not think they know the answer, but the answer is within them. So when I'm sitting down with them, there's many things that I look for, which is, you know, how do you respond to my way of giving you therapy? Are you more of a solution focused person? Are you more of a person that needs to, you know, work on it from within yourself? Are you a person that do better in group therapy? You know, all those things. And it takes time. It doesn't happen in that first initial session. A lot of people think that no, it doesn't happen in that first session. It takes time for us to build some rapport. So, and I can't really answer that question because every person is different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody is different. Listen, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, but when we come back, we're going to dive more into this conversation. So I definitely need y'all to stay tuned for the second part of this conversation right here on Keep It Real with Raheem Brazil.
I will go in for my friends because I feel like those relationships are so important.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a conversation, that person may not know you're feeling the way you feel, or that they're not showing up. Sometimes people are so engulfed with what they got going on, their kids, their baby's fathers, their jobs, that you may say, hey, you're never there for me, and they go, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know that. So at least give that person the opportunity to try to make it right before we just sever ties.
Absolutely.